My name's Anthony Pasquarello. I topped Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals in 2011 and 3 YCSs back-to-back in 2012. Although I stopped playing in 2013, I've rediscovered my passion for the game through older formats and love sharing ideas about how to play. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Masterclass. I'm by no means a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master. Alrighty guys, welcome back. We are at round 2 of Deck Devastators 3. We are 1-0 so far, playing against Trap Monies. So, we open very good going first hand, even a good going second hand because we have Heavy Storm. But this is great going first because we just summon our Frog, send Treeborn, bounce it back. If they swing, we have Drag. If they do nothing, we have Heavy sitting pretty. We have a lot of defense with the faders and stuff. This is just a great hand. And our opponent summons Bora, so we instantly find out we're playing against Blackwings, and he's going to swing, and now we have a decision to make, right? The decision is, do we drop the Trag or not? Because if we drop it and they have Mirror Force or Deep Prison, then it's a 1-for-1, but we have to ask ourselves, are we going to bring back Treeborn next turn and swing and potentially give them their Icarus attack, even though they're going to be using 2 cards to get rid of a Trag and the Treeborn was free. So we're still going +1 on that. How important is it that we keep the Trag on the field? Do we even want it right now? We have faders for later. A lot of questions about these kinds of plays, and these are the plays that'll, honestly, maybe not this scenario specifically, but a lot of scenarios like this will make or break a game. And I'm not going to drop the Tragodia. I'm going to hang on to it. We have Dark Dust Spirit, so we could just get over the Bora and we could save the Trag for later on. I don't think it would have been bad necessarily. They set 2. We draw Brain Control. That's not great for right now. And they're going to Dust Shoot right off the rip, so that hurts. That hurts a little bit. And they're going to think about it for a while and put the Trag back. And I'm just going to bring out the DDS, and they're going to bottomless it. So now we went first. We have 5 to their 4. The DDS took care of a bottomless and a Bora, so that was a nice +1 there. And we have, dare I say, the ultimate +1 in Treeborn Frog in the graveyard, except this is a little dicey matchup because Shura's going to run over it to get them a plus. Bora could pierce over it. So we constantly want to be paying attention to our life points in this matchup. And our opponent's just going to summon Blizzard, synchro with Bora. They're going to make an Armed Wing, which is nice because piercing damage. So couple turns in, we're at half life. Now we draw Soul Exchange. Now, without Trag and DDS, I mean, look where we're at. We're not looking too pretty, and we don't really want to bring the Treeborn back, and if that's an oppression, then we are in a lot of trouble, and maybe it is because they summon their Blizzard to put the pressure on so early, and that's what Blackwings could do. They're a pretty good control deck, but a really good aggressive deck. So I'm just going to summon my Swap Frog, ensure that I don't draw a Treeborn next turn because that would be another really bad draw. Brain Control is not doing really anything right now. I play Heavy Storm because I don't want to lose to Oppression. It's just Dust Tornado. I'd rather not lose the game like that. And they're just going to swing. Double Collude here is game. I don't think they have it. I'm playing a little risky. Oh no, I'm not. I dropped the Fader. I lied. I'm not playing risky. But now we need a Monarch for sure. Otherwise, we're just going to go -1 on a Fader. Oh, and they're so happy. Look at that play. Look at that play by my opponent. They set the Dust. They knew we had the Heavy. We Heavy. But they didn't know that because they set Dust and Trap Dust Shoot. And, yeah, they knew we had the Heavy, and they opted not to set anything else. They waited till we heavied that 1 card that they set turn 1. They knew it'd probably be dead against us. They got the Dust Shoot off nicely, and now they have 3 real cards. Well, cards that I don't know at this point if they're real or not, but they are 2 Deep Prisons and an MST. We draw Substitute, and that's not... I mean, it's a pretty good card. I'm still very worried about Oppression, but I don't really have another play right now. Luckily for us, their cards aren't that good. We don't know that. And we don't really have a choice here. So we're just going to Substitute and Soul Exchange and get our lock off. They have 3 darks engraved. How convenient. Bounce the Swap Frog back to our hand. And we're going to get Dupe Block and keep some cards. Now, we went first. We have 6 to their 4, but they have live Dark Arm, and this is scary, even though we got that off. So now we know there's no oppression back there, and they just pass. So now, full Dupe Block. I feel okay bringing back Treeborn. 1 Boar is gone. I'm just going to summon Swap Frog and start trying to get some damage through. And they're going to Deep Prison a Frog. We know it's not torrential. They would have torrentialed all this probably, even though we would have got frogs back. But they Deep Prison a Frog, so I feel really good about that. Now we're looking 7 to their 4. Top deck an Econ. Or we set an Econ rather. They're going to MST it so they can get their Whirlwind off, I believe. Again, I don't... The whole idea... Well, one idea with this deck is the fact that I don't play trap cards because it was our belief that if you're playing one trap card, you have to play trap cards. So maybe you want to play Treacherous. That's probably the only trap card you would want to play in like a one-of for trap card lines. But then your opponent's MST, this guy main decks Dust Tornadoes, and maybe other people main deck Dust Tornadoes too. It's not, you know, out of the realm and Heavy Storm. Like, you're just making all that stuff live. So when we came up with the deck, we said no traps, but sometimes, like right now, I set the Econ in that particular instance. Was it necessary? No, it wasn't necessary, but they MST'd it, so now we're down an Econ and we made their MST live. So that's gotta be careful with setting cards sometimes, and that's also why I didn't want to play traps, because I didn't want to have to really worry about keeping their spell in trap destruction live. And most of the time, game 2, they're going to side all that stuff out. I'm sure they're going to side out Dust Tornadoes. So I guess, you know, then you could side in some back row stuff, or, you know, a lot of Books of Moon and stuff. We're going to have 3 pretty much every game 2. But anyway, I digress. That's just back row importance with this deck, I feel like. But now we top deck a Caius, and now we're looking pretty good because the Whirlwind's dangerous. They grabbed a Blizzard, but we're still under a nice Dupe Block, so Caius is going to be perfect, because if they want a Bryonic and get rid of our Dupe Block, then even, well, I think they have an Armed Wing here, so they can make Armor Master if they go Summon Blizzard, bring back whatever, grab value, make Bryonic, pitch a card, make Armor Master, run over that Caius with Armor Master. But we're still doing pretty good, and they're going to waste a lot of cards doing that, and we have a lot of Monarchs left in our deck, so I don't feel too badly. So gonna go for the guarantee. We're not sure what this is. They know Heavy's gone, so it's okay for them to set all those. That is an absolute guarantee. We know the card in their hand is Blizzard, and even if they Deep Prison this, which they do, if they want a Mistworm next turn, we have a Battle Fader. So life points were not looking too great, but we are okay. R5 to their 3, and we have Treeborn. I feel okay about this, especially because they have to put in a lot of effort to clear up this Dupe Block right now. A lot of thinking. They send a Solemn Judgment to the graveyard. That's a big oops. That's a big oops. And they're gonna pass after that. So we know they have Solemn and Blizzard. They could have overextended a little bit right there, but I think the Solemn is very important. So now I think we are okay to start going broke. I think we're gonna put this Caius on the field. Yeah, we're going to go for a nice 34, and that's going to make this game very much even. Now we know they have a Blizzard and a Solemn, and they still... Same thing could happen, right, with the Bryo and the Armor Master, and we're still, you know, in an interesting spot if they want to do that, depending on their top deck, and it's Book of Moon. Yep, there's the Blizzard, there's the Bora. They don't have, oh, they don't have Whirlwind anymore. Okay, scratch everything I just said. They don't have Whirlwind, so they can't do that play anymore. Yeah, so now Caius removing that Whirlwind made that entire thing much better for us, because now they're locked in the dupe block. Alright, so I'm dumb. Forget everything I just said. That's why I removed the Whirlwind. What a dummy. You guys are listening to me. You guys are trying to learn from me. So 2 back rows in the Yugioh. We draw a lad. Interesting card to draw. Now we have a decision to make, right? We could summon Swap Frog, bounce the Caius back after we get Treeborn, and next turn try to do that. We could Brain Control and just swing for 52 and try to win that way. We could Brain Control, get Treeborn to come back, Brain Control, tribute the Yugioh and the Treeborn for lad and swing for 52, and if they negate once or twice, and swing for 42 and have a lad. So we're looking pretty good. I bring back Treeborn. They say that's fine. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go for the lad play here. That's the best possible card. I don't know why I said brain and attack. That would not make any sense when we draw lad. The best possible play is to get that, and to get that lad and get their Yugioh off the field. And if lad dies with the Caius, then we'll get the Caius back. And I think we're still in a good spot here. I think we'll probably brain control and go for it. We brain control, and they solemn. They don't book, because then we could just run it right over. We know they have a solemn judgment, so now the cat's out of the bag. I summon Swap Frog. They say that's fine. I bounce my Caius back. And I think that's really all we need to do. Now they have a book. I'm checking their graveyard. Dark Arm is not live right now. They top decked Ashura, which is doing them a lot of nothing because we have this nice dupe block. They're going to summon the Ashura. They're going to book the dupe, getting their last card out of there. We knew it was a book, so I say the Shura does nothing, but now it's live because of that book, but they have to waste a lot of cards to do this, so I do get my effect with Dupe Frog. He's thinking if he wants to take it. I feel like taking it is the right play here, because then I have to attack it first, so he is going to take it. Sure is going to run over the swap for some damage. And now he's actually in a pretty good spot. Yeah, we have Caius in our hand, but they turned that around quite nicely with that Book of Moon. So they get Android, and now we're still looking not bad. I'm happy we have this on the field. This is a nice line of defense. We top deck another Caius, which is really good. And we get Treeborn back. So now what is the play? What is the play? That is the question. They have a live Armor Master. I'm pretty sure this took me a little while to think about what I wanted to do here. But I think the only thing that really made sense was tribute Treeborn, Caius this away, and then we're forced to attack this, use this effect to bring a Swap Frog to our hand, and then with 2 Swap Frogs in our hand, knowing that we have 2 Treeborns in the grave, my question was, do I want to keep 2 Swap Frogs in my hand and a Caius, or put some more defense on the field, pitching the Swap Frog, putting the Swap Frog on the field, using the effect to have no Swap Frogs in our hand and 2 Caius in our hand instead. And I'm pretty sure that's what we ended up doing, which I feel good about. At this point, I'm asking myself, why am I thinking what I'm thinking? You know, they're going to draw a card. We're at 24. They have a 2500 attacker coming out next turn if they want. And once this dies, we're going to get another Swap Frog. So, if one of these is in the graveyard, so I have to pitch it. Otherwise, I have to get a Treeborn back to my hand, which I don't really want to do. So I'm asking myself, what would I rather have? I have Treeborns coming back every turn. I can get the Caius out. Why do I need to special summon a Swap Frog later on? You know, so, and the defense helps us right now. So that's exactly what I do, and now we have a very stacked hand with 2 Treeborns in grave. And they top deck a Compulse. It's not bad. That's not bad. And they're going to go ahead and make their Armor Master. And Fader looks like it's going to save us here. So, Dupe Frog dies, gets my swap back, so that works nicely. All stuff that I feel like I potentially, myself or anyone, could miss. That stuff, those are important plays. Those are game-changing plays. So I'm happy that worked out the way it did. They set the compulse. And now we're looking not bad, I don't think. We draw a book. That's a fantastic card to draw. We get Treeborn. There's nothing really crazy to think about here. We have to Caius the Armor Master away. And we have to... I think we could probably ram into the Android. They're thinking about... They're thinking potentially about compulsing this Treeborn back to my hand, I think. And they actually do that. I'm not really sure why they do that. Because if... I mean, it's not... The compulse is... It seems like it's pretty good, but it's actually not that good, because if they compulse the Monarch back to my hand, then I could just drop it again and again. So I bring them down to 19. I bang out here, and now I don't even have to set the book because I have the Fader, and I want my Treeborn coming back next turn. We want our Treeborn coming back next turn. They top deck Icarus, and there he is. Look at that. There he is, right on time. Same exact scenario. We don't have to waste our last Caius in case this isn't their last bottomless or anything wild. Another deep... Well, if it's Deep Prisoner Mirror Force, we win. So we summon the Barbaros, and does his job. Does his job perfectly. Shout out to my boy for watching. Game 2, pretty good hand. Of course, we're lacking Monarchs and we never want to draw Dupe Frog, but against Blackwings, Dust, and Heavy is good. I'm trying hard to not look at their hand, especially at the beginning, because then we kind of have the info. So they summon Fossil Dynast at 3/4 back row, and now this is interesting. And we draw a Burial, and that's not really doing us much right now, but what's the play? What do you think the best play is right here? Because in my opinion, if you Heavy Storm, you don't really have a push, right? Dupe Frog is fine, but if you Heavy Storm, it's either a Bribe or a Solemn. They can't Starlight Road because they can't Starlight Road. Fossil Dynast negates the entire card. So I'm not super worried about going minus on the Heavy right now. I feel like if I Heavy, they have to have something, but if they don't, we set Dupe Frog and Dust, or just Dupe Frog, and I feel like we win. Even though we don't have a Monarch yet, because Dupe Frog's ass is so big. But I could 100% see the argument for not playing the Heavy Storm right here, maybe setting Dupe and Dust, and I'm not going to look at what those back rows are right now. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what they are. So I play it. A little aggressive, but no Starlight Road. So we get the Solemn. We get the Solemn out of them. And I'm not super upset with that, because we still have a Dust Tornado. So I T-set and pass. And they pass. They don't attack. And we draw right on time. Treeborn Frog. So for all the insane draws that I drew this game, or this tournament, they're you know, some like this. So I pass, and they draw a Whirlwind, and that's a pretty good card. And they summon Shura, that's real good, but we have the Dust, luckily. Not going to randomly waste that on anything, no reason to. And I was going to attack with Shura. If he runs over whatever this is, he wouldn't be able to special summon with Fossil Dynast, which is great for us, but him just summoning monsters off Whirlwind would be insane. And, okay, for the bad cards that we drew a couple turns in a row, this is insane. This card, and you will see in future videos, this card is insane. Even in round 1, in the first video, we saw how good this card could be, even when it doesn't resolve its effect, just the pressure that it puts on. So now I'm going to lose my dupe frog effect if I tribute for this, but I'm clearing that board. I can even be cheeky and set this, but we have decisions to make. And I just set Treeborn. Nothing crazy. I got you guys thinking that was going to be a definite, but it's not a definite. Any plus he gets, he has to attack this, right? He has to attack Dupe Frog first. So setting Treeborn isn't that bad. We're playing patient right now. And I think sometimes I look at that hand and I get excited, like, oh, we drew a good card. But Dupe Frog is doing its job. Make them do the work. Make them get this off the field. Their Shura is blocked by their Fossil Dino. They contradicted themselves a little bit. They set a 4th back row. We draw Econ. Not bad. Not bad. A lot of questions to ask on this turn, right? Do we want to stand by phase? Econ take something, tribute it. They still have to attack this. They can't really get over it right now. It doesn't really seem worth it to do that. We could tribute this. With the Dark Dust Spirit again, that play is real. There's a lot of options here, and it's funny because I'm looking at the field now wondering what I did, but in the moment that question was still presented to me. What do I do right now? Is my opponent going to do something insane next turn? This is a very explosive deck. We know they have Compulse. They probably sided it out, but who knows? Maybe they Compulse this back and just go for it all. If I had to take a guess, and I really don't remember, I want to say probably just pass. But I don't. I go for the really aggressive play. I tribute for Dark Dust Spirit. Now he's thinking. Interesting, interesting, interesting. And they are going to book their Fossil Dino, which is pretty interesting to me. They value this card a lot against us, and now we got rid of our own Dupe Frog. We did the work for them, right? Maybe passing actually was the right play, because now we know when we go to attack, one of these is getting rid of this card, right? And even I have to attack because this is coming back to my hand at the end of the turn. So he says I can't use Dupe, but because he chained book, but I said summon this, use the effect. If you tribute a Dupe Frog for a Monarch, then this isn't the first thing to happen. It's not Chain Link 1, but Dark Dust Spirit blows up the field, and then this goes to the graveyard, resulting in a new chain. So he chained a Book of Moon on his Fossil Dino, which is Chain Link 2, this being Chain Link 1. This goes face down, this kills everything, this starts a new chain. So that is why I get Swap Frog to my hand, which isn't doing a lot. And he has the Deep Prison. So my opponent went first, and they have 4 to our 5, but Fossil Dino's looking real good. But keeping an eye on life points, we're not out of this game just yet. We have a Treeborn. We need a Book of Moon, and we need a Monarch. And they summon Shura, and now they're going to start putting the pressure on us, and this is when it starts to look bad for us heroes. We draw a Soul Exchange. Fantastic card to draw. And I think this is actually going to keep us alive if we top deck a Monarch next turn, right? We could set Treeborn, maybe set the Econ if we're feeling like they're really going to get aggressive. We don't really have to set it. We could just set the Treeborn. Oh, and look at me go. Look at me go. I'm just going to take their Shura and try to run over that Fossil Dino, and they Mirror Force. And I think this is fine. I think that's a fine play. We didn't have to do that. But by doing that, another pretty aggressive play. We could have Soul Exchange tributed one monster or tribute this monster for a Caius or a Ryza or whatever. But if we do it this way, not only do we get their back row out of there, but we get the Shuro off the field. So now, if they don't have many more monsters, they're just poking for 12, and we're gaining more time to draw monarchs that we need, as opposed to letting them swing for 18 every turn. We're just taking 12 unless they draw another monster. So I don't think that's a bad play. Now look what they're doing. Now their foot is on the gas, right? Very hard, and they're like, we're just going to go for it. You're at 5,000, this is 26, so we just have to do this twice. You can't get Treeborn back. We need a Monarch. Oh, and we draw Caius the Shadow Monarch. Soul Exchange, immediately get this off the field. Let's check the darks. There are 2. This we want to get removed. He can't Icarus attack. I only have 1 card on the field. If it is Icarus, perfect time for this. It is a bottomless. Now something crazy happens here. My opponent actually doesn't take 1,000 life points for the Dark Monster being removed by Caius. That's probably the first time I've ever forgotten to remind my opponent to do it. And we'll see how much that comes back to hurt us. I don't want to spoil too much, but that you have to remember to take the 1,000 damage. I can't believe I let that slide. That is humongous. So right here, Caius gets bottomless, and now I have some options. I special summon Frog by pitching the Frog in defense mode. I'm going to send a Frog, and I do this because I notice I'm at 2,400. I look at my opponent's graveyard. There are no Blizzards, 2 Kalutes in there. All they need to top deck a Blizzard, and then they make Yugioh and they swing for game. So I wanted some line of defense, and also if I put it in attack mode and swung right now, then we lose to Gores, right? So just a little line of defense in case they do top deck it. We wanted to cover all of our ends. So it's very important to, when I'm rewatching this stuff, to ask myself, kind of question my plays. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And I think that's one that if I missed in the game, it would have hurt. If they top deck a Blizzard, we have to go to game 3 simply because I didn't want to special summon the Frog. And now if they did top deck Blizzard and run over this with Yugioh, if they do Brio, they leave us at 100. If they do Yugioh, then they run it over. We get Treeborn, remove the Caius, or remove with Caius the Yugioh. But we top deck Caius, and now I'm thinking about what I want to do here. I think from the way I've been playing aggressively, checking their graveyard, thinking, alright, 1 bottomless is gone, they still have bottomless torrential, maybe they decided in pullings, but maybe it's worth a shot right here. I guess I'm not super worried about Gores in this matchup against Blackwings because they play Oppression. I'm not sure if they took it out, but I think this is a time to go for damage. And now this, it is a Deep Prison, so now this is where it's absolutely humongous that they didn't take the 1,000 damage, right? Because now they're at 28, 18, that's game. So this should be the end of the game, and this is not Gores. This is a Dark Arm Dragon that they don't have active. Unless they top deck a Blizzard, then they win. And the game should be done. But because we missed that, that's endlessly shaking my head for missing something like that. It is absolutely imperative that we don't miss stuff like that. It's crazy. But we swap Frost's effect. We bounce back our Caius. That we could remove next turn. Even though we shouldn't have to. They top deck a Dust Shoot, and that is the game. Luckily, I can't say it enough. We get out of there. We scrape by, but imagine if we had lost because of that. That's just gotta stay on top of everything. It's a really important. I can't stress it enough. Always stay on top of everything. I know sometimes when you're in a tournament setting like this, it's easier to get distracted by things, especially when you're trying very hard to win. It's only round 2, but you're still taking it extremely seriously, and you're thinking to yourself, alright, I'm up game 1, this is a tight game 2, I want everything to go perfectly. What do I do with these frogs? Am I worried about this? Alright, they could attack for game, and it just slips. But gotta try to stay sharp and don't let that kind of stuff get in your head. So 2-0. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Luckily 2-0. Could have went downhill, but we'll see you in the next one for round 3.